The Gaza Strip, a narrow sliver of land along the southeastern Mediterranean coast, is often perceived solely through the lens of modern conflict. However, this small territory possesses a history that is both ancient and profoundly deep, stretching back millennia. For centuries, its strategic location made it a vital corridor connecting continents. It was a crucial waypoint on the ancient trade routes linking Egypt, the Levant, Mesopotamia. Its port facilitated commerce and cultural exchange, but also made it a target for conquest. From the pharaohs of Egypt, Philistines, Assyrians, Babylonians, Persians, each sought control, leaving lasting marks. The arrival of Alexander the Great, the Hellenistic period, integrated Gaza into the Mediterranean world. Roman rule, Byzantine rule, under which Christianity flourished. Gaza grew as an intellectual and commercial center, school of rhetoric, bustling markets. Archaeological layers lie buried beneath the modern city, evidence of constant interaction, trade, and the march of empires. The 7th century Islamic conquests brought Gaza into the Muslim world. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I. It fundamentally reconfigured the political landscape of the Middle East. In 1917, British forces captured Palestine, including Gaza. This ushered in the British Mandate. The mandate lasted from 1922 to 1948. Britain made a promise, the Balfour Declaration, but it also claimed to protect the rights of the Arab population. Those contradictory obligations fueled rising tensions. Frequent clashes between the growing Zionist movement and indigenous Palestinian Arabs who feared dispossession. In 1947, the UN proposed partitioning Palestine into Arab and Jewish states. Jewish leaders accepted the plan. Arab states and Palestinian leaders rejected it, seeing it as a violation of self-determination. The British withdrew in May 1948. Israel declared independence. That immediately triggered the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. For Palestinians, the war is the Nakba, the catastrophe. Over 750,000 people were displaced. The Gaza Strip was profoundly and permanently altered by the Nakba. Its pre-war population was roughly 80,000. It swelled almost overnight to around 200,000 refugees. Many fled towns and villages in southern Palestine, Jaffa, Beersheba. They arrived with little more than the clothes on their backs. They expected to return home in weeks. Instead, they found themselves confined to a tiny, impoverished territory. Their former homes were now part of the new state of Israel. After the 1948 war, Gaza came under Egyptian military administration. That status lasted until 1967. Refugees were housed in sprawling, densely packed camps established by the United Nations, Jabalia, Rafah, Khan Yunis, and others. What were intended as temporary shelters solidified into permanent urbanized slums. Life in these camps was defined by hardship, dependence on international aid, and the collective trauma of dispossession. The dream of return became the central pillar of Palestinian identity in Gaza. It became a powerful political and emotional force that animated resistance movements. It shaped the aspirations of generations to come, transforming the Strip into a crucible of Palestinian nationalism. The nearly 2 decades of Egyptian administration in the Gaza Strip. It came to an abrupt and violent end in June 1967. During the Six-Day War, the Israeli military launched a swift and decisive campaign, defeating the combined forces of Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. In a matter of days, Israel captured the Sinai Peninsula, the Gaza Strip from Egypt, the West Bank from Jordan, East Jerusalem from Jordan, and the Golan Heights from Syria. For the Palestinians in Gaza, this marked the beginning of a direct and prolonged military occupation, a new chapter that would bring profound changes to every aspect of their lives and society. The border with Egypt was sealed, cutting off familial and commercial ties, and the Strip was now fully under Israeli control. The Israeli occupation brought with it a complex system of military governance. A military administration was established to oversee all civil affairs, issuing permits and licenses, controlling the education system, controlling the healthcare system. Freedom of movement was severely curtailed. Palestinians required permits to travel between Gaza and the West Bank, to enter Israel for work, or to go abroad. The presence of soldiers, checkpoints, and curfews was daily and pervasive. The occupation was a constant visible force that regulated and restricted the lives of every Palestinian resident, creating an atmosphere of subjugation and simmering resentment. A key feature of the occupation was the establishment of Israeli settlements within the Gaza Strip. Beginning in the 1970s, over 20 settlements were built on land confiscated from Palestinians. These settlements, housing several thousand Israelis, were connected by a network of exclusive bypass roads and protected by a heavy military presence, consuming scarce land and water and fragmenting the territory. The decades of occupation fostered the growth of Palestinian nationalism and political organization. The PLO, operating from exile, became the recognized representative of the Palestinian people. Inside Gaza, resistance took many forms: civil disobedience, commercial strikes, armed struggle. The First Intifada, or uprising, erupted in Gaza's Jabalia refugee camp in December 1987, a mass popular revolt that brought the Palestinian plight to the world's attention. The First Intifada created a new political reality, demonstrating that the military occupation was unsustainable, paving the way for secret negotiations between Israeli officials and the PLO, culminating in the 1993 Oslo Accords. This historic agreement was built on the principle of land for peace and laid out a phased Israeli withdrawal. It also led to the creation of the Palestinian Authority, a first measure of autonomy since 1948. In 1994, Yasser Arafat returned from exile to a rapturous welcome in Gaza, establishing the PA headquarters as Israeli troops withdrew from main population centers. But key issues, the status of Jerusalem, final borders, the fate of refugees, and continued settlements, were deferred to final status talks that never concluded. The peace process unraveled. Violence by militant groups and harsh retaliations eroded trust. The failure of Camp David in 2000 and the much more violent Second Intifada signaled Oslo's collapse. Hope dissolved into a cycle of violence and suicide bombings, leaving both societies traumatized and polarized. In 2005, Ariel Sharon ordered unilateral disengagement, dismantling all 21 Israeli settlements in Gaza and withdrawing the army. But Israel retained control of Gaza's borders, airspace, and coastline. In 2006, Hamas won legislative elections, reflecting frustration with corruption in the Fatah-led PA. A brutal internal conflict followed, and in 2007, Hamas seized full control of the Gaza Strip. PA forces were expelled, creating a deep political schism. The Hamas takeover in 2007 marked a new era. Israel, in coordination with Egypt, imposed land, air, and sea blockades to weaken Hamas and block weapons. In practice, the blockade collectively punished over 2 million people. The economy crippled, exports collapsed, businesses closed, unemployment and poverty soared. Daily life became a struggle. Severe shortages of clean water, electricity, and medical supplies. Power cuts of 12 to 16 hours impacted hospitals and homes. The aquifer turned unsafe, forcing costly private water. Healthcare was starved of equipment and medicine, specialists couldn't travel, hospitals were pushed to the brink.